You like to knock out a little thunderstruck from time to time. I recall you're quite handy with the axe. How is it, Premier, that the city that birthed the greatest rock and roll band in the world and the most successful musical and artistic act in Australian history, that on the 50th anniversary of AC/DC's formation and first performance in 1974, just down the road, it went unheralded, unnoticed, uncommemorated by your government? And in fact, the only thing that did happen was the Burwood childhood home of the Young family in which they learnt to play guitar was bulldozed. How did this happen?
I don't know. It sounds like it would be worth a private member's statement at least.
Well, there was a motion passed by the Legislative Council.
There you go. It didn't go unheralded then. The Legislative Council did its job.
Will the government commit to rectify this egregious situation by committing to a significant public memorial and event to recognise AC/DC's globally significant contribution to the arts and life of our city, our state, our nation, and humanity generally?
Well, look,
the most successful rock and roll band in the history of humanity.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. The largest selling. You don't know that.
Well,
this city
more than the Rolling Stones.
They've sold more albums than the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
Biggest ever concert. Yep, more.
More than the Beatles.
Yes.
Well, for those who are about to
hundreds of millions of records. It's still played in their music is still played in stadia and cars and houses all over the world every day. And yet, is it part of the cultural cringe and snobbery in this state that we recognise other artists, but we don't recognise AC/DC because they're seen as bogans and working class?
I don't see them. I love AC/DC. I don't know why I'm being fitted up as an anti-AC/DC.
Well, what have you
Come
done
in
to
and answer questions?
What have you done to recognise their contribution to our society and the arts?
Well, I don't think I've done anything, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate them.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, perhaps I can think. In addition to the motion moved by the Legislative Council, I'm sure Angus Young and Brian Williams would be. I'm sure. I don't even know if they know. Perhaps we should let them know that this has happened. We can send them a memorial, Mr. Chair, a plaque. Well, maybe you should let me know what you want me to do.
Well, I've said, should there be a public memorial? We've got statues to forgotten Scottish poets in the domain. Yet the most successful musical act, artistic act in Australian history, there's not a plaque, there's not a mural, there's not a sign anywhere. Melbourne's got AC/DC Lane and a big mural. There's a statue of Bon Scott. It could be a significant tourist boon to have, because there's got hundreds of millions.
Was Bon Scott from Adelaide or Melbourne?
Bon Scott was from WA.
WA.
I think they're all Scottish. But the Youngs grew up in Burwood, and I
know the Youngs. I love AC/DC. So perhaps I could take it on notice, but it sounds like a good idea.
Thank you. I'll follow that up. Premier,